Hi friends! So today I'll be teaching you 8 different techniques of watercolor painting that anybody can use very easily to create their own masterpieces. So for these techniques we would need some salt. Here I'm using a paper clip, paper pin. If you don't have this, you can use toothpick, any edgy or pointy object. I'm using a tissue paper, a plastic wrap or a plastic sheet, some bubble wrap, and a white crayon. So this is all we need. Obviously, besides the water and the paint brushes and the watercolors to do this technique. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. So first we are going to start off with the salt technique. For that, guys, remember always that this is watercolor painting and hence we are going to use a lot of water in this. So I'm just going to dip my paintbrush and I'm just going to paint some water onto my canvas here, or just I'm applying some water here. Now I'm just going to take some blue color in my paintbrush, again dip it in water slightly, and then I'm going to slightly paint it. Be very careful if you're not using water color paper, then make sure that you just make one simple brush like this. Just paint it in one direction. If you're not using watercolor sheets, otherwise you will end up tearing your paper, and that is something we certainly don't want. So guys, here the trick is that you need to sprinkle the salt before any of your paint dries up. So that is why I am giving this final touch here, and now I am quickly going to sprinkle salt all over, and I'm just going to let the water absorb all the salt. Just let the salt dry up on its own before removing it. So just leave this to dry for a bit. Until then, let us proceed on to our next technique, which I am going to teach you with the bubble wrap. So now the thing is, we will always start by painting some water onto our canvas, because all these techniques that I am teaching you today need a lot of water. So I'll be using some purple color here. Guys, these are so easy techniques that even your child will be easily able to do these techniques on his or her own. And it will look like that it's been created by someone who has deep knowledge of art or painting, and you can easily flaunt your drawings or paintings in front of everyone. So there, I'm done, and I'm just going to keep this bubble wrap onto this wet paint, wet color, and I'm just going to press it like this, and I'm just going to let this dry before I remove any of this. So we are just going to leave it for drying, and let's move on to our next technique. So the next technique that I'll be showing you is of the plastic wrap. I'm just removing the salt that came here. So the next technique that I'm going to use is with the plastic wrap. So again, I am painting the whole thing with water first. So I'm painting this block with water, and I am going to use pink color this time. So I'm using pink color. The main point to note here is that whenever you stick your plastic sheet or your bubble wrap or your tissue paper onto your drawing sheet, your paint should be wet enough to let it stick. Okay, it should be really wet. Just crush your plastic sheet with your hand like this. Straighten it out with your hand and just paste it onto your drawing sheet like this. See how beautiful effect it's giving it right now. And we are going to do the same with this also. We are just going to let it dry completely before letting this sheet out. So let us move forward to our fourth technique. Guys, did you notice how quickly we can do these? It's incredibly easy to do, and we can do this real quickly, right? So I've painted the whole thing again with water, and this time I am planning on using dark blue color. And here goes my dark blue color. And guys, I am almost done coloring here. And now I am simply going to crush my sheet, and I'm just going to open it up, and I'm going to stick it here onto my sheet. Now guys, remember, since this is also a paper and we are also drawing on a sheet of paper, so this might stick to your paper. So we need to take this out before it gets dried up. So let me just take it out, and can you see the texture that it has created? Yes? Now guys, coming on to my next technique, we don't have to paint the base with water first, okay? But instead what we are going to do is we are going to draw something with this white wax crayon first here on the paper, and then we are going to paint it with watercolors. And almost like magic, your drawings will appear on top of your watercolor. You will see what I'm talking about once you see this technique. This is a wonderful way. So I'm just drawing a sun here. Since guys, I am drawing with a white crayon here, obviously you will not be able to see what I'm drawing until I have painted over it. So I guess you'll just have to be patient till I paint over it. So here in the middle I've drawn a sun, and here I have drawn a little mandala art kind of thing, and here on top I am just going to draw some triangles and smaller triangles within these bigger triangles. You can draw anything really here. Okay, so guys, I'm finished drawing with my watercolor, and now I am simply going to paint over it, and I think I'm gonna use a combination of orange and green. So I'm just going to paint orange in the middle, right here where I had drew the sun. guys, one thing that is really important here is that you need to use a lot of water. Okay, so the technique used here is that the wax resists water, and hence no amount of color is able to Wow, did you see this? How magically your drawing appears on top. And I'm going to do green in the corners. So I'm just gonna paint the corners green. And let me see what kind of effect my green color has. And simply wow. So guys, did you see how magically your drawings simply appear on top? You just have to brush your paintbrush onto your wax crayon, and there you go. Ta-da! I hope you like this technique. This is, I think, one of my favorites. It's a really cool technique. So another one just like it and that I'm about to show you guys is with a paper pin or a paper clip, or you can use a toothpick or basically any pointy object, and you can just scratch or scribble something onto your drawing sheet, whichever you want, anything that you want to get embossed onto this drawing sheet. This really gives an embossing effect. So let's start by drawing a tree. So with the help of this, I'm just going to draw a tree. And here I just wanna draw some grasses, some wild grass growing under the tree, just random scribbling here and there, just like this. And I'm just gonna draw some birds here, and that's it. So now I'm just going to paint it with a dark green color. So guys, do you see how beautifully your scribblings just appear. See guys, see how beautifully your scribblings just appear. Isn't this a great technique? And it's giving a very nice embossing effect, don't you think? Now let's move on to the 7th technique, and for that we will need to apply water on the base first. So here I am applying water once again on the base, and this time I'm gonna use yellow color. So I'm just gonna use some yellow color here. It's a nice bright yellow and I just love this color. And once you're done with the yellow, okay, make sure it is still wet while you do the other color on top. So guys, I'm just quickly gonna drop some red dots on top of this yellow base, and let's see what happens to my red dots. The point is just use a lot of water and you will see a great effect. Did you see that? A touch of that and it spreads like fire. Oh yeah. Just a drop and it just spreads. What do you think of this one? Isn't this beautiful? And for my last technique, I need to cover all of this up with a piece of paper, because the last technique that I'm going to show is the splatter art technique, and we don't want our splatterings to get onto this nice work that we've done here. So I'm just going to cover it with another piece of paper. So guys, I'm just gonna keep this piece of paper right here and I'm going to cover this one with this piece of paper. And now guys, for doing the splattering art, you can choose any 2 colors of your choice, really, and I'm thinking of using multicolors in this, and so I'm going to use this green, dark green, and this dark blue. Just make sure that they are full of water, and simply what you need to do is bank both of these brushes together like this. Just bang one on top of the other. Just reverse it and you will see that the other color will start coming out. And there you have a nice splatter art. I'm just going to mix some more colors here. So I'm going to use pink and I'm going to use yellow. So and we are done. A nice splattering pattern here. So now let's see what happens when I pull this plastic sheet out. Oh wow, do you see the texture here? We've got a beautiful texture here that you can use for gift wrapping papers or practically anything. You can just use it as your painting background as well. Okay, oh wow. And here we've got another texture of bubble wrap. Do you see these circles here? So it's a beautiful texture. Right here we've just seen like how 3 different textures can be formed with such simple techniques. Okay, now I think my salt has also dried up, so I'm just going to remove the excess salt off of the drawing sheet and let us see the result of our salt technique as well. Oh wow guys, so do you see we've got such a nice texture here with little dots of dark and light colors mixed together. And I'm just going to use some white color here to draw some clouds onto this. I just can't resist because it just looks like a sky to me, and I'm just going to draw some nice clouds onto this. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw some clouds. and I'm done. So guys, what do you think of these 8 easy watercolor painting techniques? Please do let me know. Until then, bye bye. See you in my next video.